Indiana Fever many fans is still poking fingers at head coach Stephanie White for actually making the game not entertaining anymore, bro. This motion offense has to be addressed, and Stephanie White has to be held accountable because it's truly the offense that she's running, and it is not for Caitlin Clark at this point. Now, both Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White spoke to the media immediately.
What actually took place in the background? Caitlin Clark has revealed her health in a brutally honest shocker. Oh, and she also didn't hold back from Stephanie White. Was there any shade? Was it accurate? Was it both? Kept cold and wrapped in a jump shot. This isn't your typical news conference, so you'll have to see it to believe it. Not at all. This is the uncensored Caitlin. Let's also assume that jaws are on the ground. Get some popcorn if that's the type of video.
I thought at times we could have played a little bit faster, and I think that's on me, like not conceding in that. We still got to play up tempo, we still got to play fast. But I mean, I thought for the most part we did a lot of stuff that coach wanted us to do, and you know, that wasn't why we lost.
I can't hold you, man. That kind of looked like she let that slip out, man. I don't know. But I mean, we all see it. When they play slow, it's just not a good team, man. They're not as good as we see that they could be, right? So they need to play fast, man. I think, you know, they don't necessarily look that good when they're playing half-court ball. Maybe taking something from the Valkyries, man. The Valkyries run, all right? They be running.
She appears to be spiritually dehydrated rather than worn out. Caitlin Clark is fueled by caffeine, fumes, and pure determination. As if it were a twisted version of American Ninja Warrior, but with harsher coaches and referees. The WNBA throws every obstacle in her path. Put the hardwood away. This woman is negotiating obstacles.
The league needs to take care of Caitlin, not for special treatment purposes, but that's who everybody's there to see. Everybody wants to see Caitlin Clark play. And if you let other teams and other people beat the shit out of her, she's going to spend 2 weeks out injured. And your attendance is going to drop because people aren't going to get the chance to see her. And if you actually want to be paid the same as the NBA players, obviously not by actual dollar for dollar, but for revenue percentage, you need to protect her. You need her to be playing at her best and not be having...
She has also become the preferred chew toy of referees, who must have thought she was a tackling dummy, despite being the face of growth, hope, and ticket sales. No longer are missed calls the only issue. Referees evaluate how many illegal screens and shoulder bumps a player can absorb before becoming emotional jelly in this full-fledged experimental research project.
Las Vegas Aces defeated the Indiana Fever 89-81. And this game was disappointing for many fans, not only for the fact that it seemed like the Fever had this one in the bag, but they kind of gave it away at the end of the game, but also because it seemed like there was something off with this Fever team. They didn't have the same energy and spark that we all know and love. So many fans are asking, what is going on?
It's also not a pleasant sight. The whistles are now wind instruments that only sound when she is actively involved in an activity. Suddenly, the rulebook begins to resemble a chaos-written choose-your-own-adventure book. Play on if someone sneezes on her. However, she will be suspended for 2 and 5 games if she breathes close to someone.
I have figured out the solution to the Indiana Fever's problems. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. This is what we gotta do. We gotta put Caitlin Clark off ball. We need to run a motion offense, so when the defense takes away what Caitlin Clark does best, we have other players that can still perform, so when she does have bad games, we're not completely dead in the water. I think that is the best way to move forward with this Indiana Fever team.
Being physical is a crime. Not figuratively, but honestly suspicious. Some muggings involve less physical contact. We may now need to see if any of these defenders have taped brass knuckles beneath their wristbands. What is the league's reaction? Crickets. Even worse are passive-aggressive Instagram postings that act as though nothing is wrong while their biggest star is slammed into oblivion, and let's not even talk about Indiana. Being emotionally taxing doesn't start to compensate for it. There's a strange atmosphere. The air is thick. The atmosphere in the locker room is reminiscent of a haunting group therapy session, fueled by Gatorade and broken dreams. It seems as though Caitlyn entered a franchise made completely of IKEA furnishings. Delicate, brittle, and just difficult to put together. You would assume that a generational talent would be given the red carpet in Indiana. Not at all. They directed her to a dripping faucet and gave her a paper towel. While her pals play hungry hippos, she tries to play 4D chess. The offense is not specified. The defense doesn't exist. Stephanie White is also sketching plays on the sidelines, seemingly using invisible ink to play Pictionary. Just vibrations prevail. There is no structure or guidance. Not the good sort either.
First, talk about Caitlin Clark. So she struggled once again in this game. She was 7 for 20 from the field and 1 for 10 from 3, which puts her at 1 for 17 over the past few games. And if you're a fan of Caitlin Clark, you know that this is so unlike her. She is arguably the best shooter in the WNBA, and she is having a significant cold streak over the past 2 games. But her missing shots isn't actually what bothers me. The thing that bothered me most in the game yesterday was the one shot that she passed up. Now, she had been missing a few shots, and if you guys were on my live stream, I said the thing that she needs to do is to continue shooting. Shooters shoot. The only way to break a cold streak is to continue shooting.
It feels like Clark is staring into space each time he turns to face the bench. As the game devolves deeper into pandemonium, Stephanie White stands there making gestures as if she were placing an order for coffee at a noisy drive-thru. It's interpretative dancing, not coaching. She alternates between demanding quick pacing and yelling about patience, and the players are caught in a full-fledged existential crisis as they attempt to figure out which version of the plan they're following and whether it's beginning to manifest. PR case once bright, and dynamic game now appears to be buffering. Her confidence is a little off, and her passes are a little late. Where she formerly attacked with wild creativity, she is now cautious. And who wouldn't really? Imagine attempting to play basketball at the highest level while continuously watching your bench for indications of sensual life and your back for flying elbows. If things continue this way, Caitlyn will require either an exorcist or a sabbatical, or possibly both, as what is being done to her goes beyond poor basketball skills. It's a psychological battle. Instead of reducing its players to regrettable highlight clips, this league should protect and promote them. However, a league that pleaded for her genius but failed to foster it is now gradually draining her.
Wait, what'd you say? Wait, what? Did you just tell me that Stephanie White went on an interview tour this whole entire offseason saying exactly that? Did you just tell me Stephanie White went on an interview? So how come when Caitlin Clark has a bad game, this team looks like absolute dog shit? How come when Caitlin Clark isn't busy backpacking this team, it looks like absolute dog shit, coach? Just a question. Just a question. What we saw today, folks, I feel bad for everybody that had to sit through that. Everybody that wasted 2 hours and 25 minutes watching the Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces, I feel bad that we had to sit through that. That was a tough watch.
The worst part is that she hasn't even yet found her sophomore footing. This is meant to be the time of the great leap, the I know what I'm doing now, period, and the glow-up season. Rather, she is attempting to survive the Hunger Games with a mismatched team and a water gun. And it's almost poetic in a tragic Shakespearean manner that league officials are out here playing Sudoku with the rules while the fan base is yelling for assistance. A multi-generational talent trapped in a Groundhog Day remake, where each game is a mashup of heartbreak and despair. And despite everything, Stephanie White keeps grinning as she attends news conferences, as if she's discovered a secret blueprint that only exists in parallel reality. Before she begins to doubt the very instincts that made her unstoppable, leave, she is stuck in a trash fire with a hoop nailed to the side before she exchanges her fire for exhaustion and wakes up to discover she isn't spearheading a revolution.
Well, I think you have to look at things a little bit holistically. I think Caitlin Clark is a really hard player to officiate, much like Diana Taurasi was throughout the course of her career, for a couple of reasons. Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her.
It will be more difficult for her to recuperate the longer she remains in this mental whirlpool, so she needs a plan for escape, a parachute, or perhaps a time machine. And yeah, losing games isn't the only issue here. This has to do with her losing her identity as a player while the league looks on helplessly. It's puzzling. As soon as she turned pro, they launched every camera and sponsorship agreement. Her aimless dribble handle and post entry are now allowing her to fade. She is the player and the reason people are watching, not just any player. Despite this, they are treating her as if she were a replacement in a 20-year-old team rebuilt with a malfunctioning GPS. Stephanie White is occupied with continually tinkering with rotations that make no sense, treating lineups like a Pinterest board. Let's take Caitlin off the ball for 80% of the game, for example. That will undoubtedly make things better. Because this is the kind of setting that not only interferes with your statistics, but also with your soul. She must save herself if no one else would. She deserves better, to be honest. Better is due to the fans. The game is worthy of more.
Well, I be damned. I be damned. 7 for 20 from the field. 1 for 10 from the three-point line. And look at those turnovers, 8 turnovers. She leads the league in turnovers. But guess what? Her Clarkies are only going to be impressed, and they're going to brag about the 19 points and 10 assists. Me personally, I'm all about efficiency. I'm concerned about those last 3, them turnovers, which she leads the league in turnovers. She is shooting horrible from the field. And as far as them three-pointers, in the last 2 games, she's only made 1 three-pointer, and that's the one against the 8.
Caitlin Clark had better start packing her bags unless Indiana finds a new coach, a new game plan, and a spine that can distinguish between offense, motion, and uncontrolled flailing. Because we won't be witnessing the emergence of a superstar if she stays around for very long. We are seeing the demise of a legend due to indifference, poor whistles, and Stephanie White's enchanted, enigmatic, and strategically perplexing journey. She's on the court, but she's not in charge at the moment. Not even close. It appears as though Caitlin Clark is the lead in a dystopian theatrical play, but is never given the opportunity to speak. She moves in certain ways. She still has her talent. But instead of being marginalized or eliminated, the authority, leadership, and spark of command that once made her the center of the basketball universe are being stifled and diminished. The development of Caitlin Clark is not underway. Like a car being disassembled and disassembled for parts in a back alley garage, she is being disassembled piece by piece. And everyone is behaving as though nothing has changed, as though getting gas lighted into insignificance is a character development exercise, or as though it's just a normal part of being a rookie. Not at all, spoiler alert. It's a soul-sucking, sluggish, and vicious drain covered in a glistening WNBA emblem. The star wasn't just let fall. They gave her a shove. Every play, sneer, nonal, and I roll from the bench. Every day. She was not shielded by them. They deleted her. And once they extinguish their own flame, they will be left wondering why the lights went out. What are your thoughts? Tell us in the comments section. Turn on all notifications, like, and subscribe to ensure you don't miss anything. After you click the video on the screen, we'll meet you in the following.